Hi, math students. I can see that we are approaching the end of Unit 2, which means that you are about a third of the way through this course, which is very exciting. So in order to prepare for the second exam, I thought that I would go ahead and do a little review with you. I'm going to make this document available to you so that you can practice some problems on your own. I am going to do some of them, but not all of them. Okay, so the first thing that you can see here is a list of definitions and formulas, and you can certainly use these for the exam. You should also know that you can have the course open for the exam so that you can go back and look at checkpoints and lessons and all that. I don't force students to do these without resources at their fingertips. So the first set of questions asks us to find the slope of the line that passes through. I'm going to choose what I think is going to be the most difficult one here because there's lots of negatives. So, and sometimes that can pose a problem for us. Okay, so I'm going to do number 3. And I can see right here that my formula for slope is y1 minus y2 over x1 minus x2. Now it doesn't matter. I can make this y1 or I can make this y1. But if this is y1, then this has to be x1. And if this is y2, then this has to be x2. So it doesn't matter which way you go with this as long as you're consistent, okay? So I'm going to say y1 minus y2. So I've got a negative 6 minus, and we can't drop a negative here. That's why this one is a little bit harder, minus a negative 5. Okay, over x1. Now this is important that we go in the right order. x1 is negative 4 minus a negative 3. Okay, so when I have minus a negative, this is going to become negative 6 plus 5, and this is going to become negative 4 plus 3, okay? So now I'm going to have negative 6 plus 5 is a negative 1 over negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1, and guess what? These two negatives cancel out, and I'm left with a slope of positive 1 out of all those complicated numbers, okay? So that's how you use the slope formula when you have 2 points, when you have coordinates for 2 points, that's how you calculate slope. And just to make sure that everybody's aware, this is one point, this is another point, okay? And each point has an x and a y value that we already basically talked about. Okay, so let's keep going. The next kind of set of questions asks us to find the slope given a graph. Okay, so I am going to choose number 5. And the one thing that I can tell right off the bat for number 5, because my line is leaning this direction, I know that I'm going to have a negative slope. So whatever I calculate, I want to make sure that it's negative. That's one way I'll know I've done my calculation wrong. This line here on number 6 is going to be positive because it's leaning to the right. Okay, so I've got 2 points. I can use that slope formula. I can also kind of look at my graph, and I can calculate it that way. I can say, okay, to get from point A to point B, I've got to go down, and I'm going to do this in a different color so it's really obvious. I'm going to go down 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. Okay, so that's my negative, down 4, okay, and then I'm going to have to go over 1, 2. So I'm at a slope of negative 4 over 2, which is negative 2. And fortunately for me, that's exactly the neighborhood of what I was looking at. So I could have also said, I could have used the points, and I could have said y1 is 3 minus a negative 1. So this is y1, y2, x1, x2 over 1 minus 3, and this would have been 4. 3 minus a negative 1 is 4 over negative 2, and that would have given me negative 2. So either way, I get negative 2. It works both ways just the same. Okay. And let's scroll down. Let's see, graph each equation. I'm going to do, there's a bunch here to do, which is great. I'm going to do number 9. Okay. So this is presented to me in y equals mx plus b, which is great. And one of the things that I know right off the bat is that it's going to cross at b. So if this is y equals mx plus b, I know the y-intercept is 2, and I know that my slope is 3 over 4. So a rise of 3 for a run of 4. So I already know one point is going to be right here at x equals 0, y equal 2. That's my b value, or my y-intercept. Okay. Now I also know that this is going to go up 3, 1, 2, 3, okay, because it's rise over run, and run of 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now I've got another value here at 4, because I'm over 4, and 3 plus 2 is 5. So I've got 4 and 5, a point at 4 and 5. So 4 and 5. Okay, so now my line, I don't think I have a way to do a straight line here, so you're just going to have to imagine that this is straight. It's going to be something like that. Okay. So pretty simple if you know y equals mx plus b. That's my favorite form to graph in. Other people prefer other methods. Let's see, number 10 is y equal mx plus b. Number 12 can easily be made y equal mx plus b. Let's rearrange number 11 really quickly into y equal mx plus b. So I've got 6x plus 3y equals 9. I'm going to move that 6x over to the right-hand side, and I'm going to say 3y equals minus 6x plus 9. And now I'm going to divide all three quantities by 3 so that I can get the y all by itself. And I'll be left with y equals negative 2x plus 3. And that's the y equal mx plus b format of this equation. Okay. So from standard form to y equal mx plus b. All right. Actually, this one is kind of interesting. Let's go ahead before we run out of time here. Let's do this as is, okay, as 6x plus 3y equal 9. One thing that I can use to graph are my intercepts, and in standard form, which this is standard form, I can easily find my intercepts. So to find intercepts, I simply plug 0 in for x, so 6 times 0 plus 3 times y equals 9. So I can solve for y by dividing both sides by 3, because this just goes to 0, okay? So y equals 3. Okay, so when x is 0, y is 3. And I can do the same thing for x. I can plug 0 in for y. So I had a value there at 3. And I can say 6x equals 9. X equals 9 over 6, which is 3 halves. Okay, so x is here. And remember we had a slope of -2 when we figured this out? So that makes sense. We have a negative leaning slope. All you need is 2 points. Okay. We're going to do one more. And I think that'll be a really good start on a review for the Unit 2 exam. And I would encourage you to do the rest of this worksheet just as a practice before you take the exam. One thing that I've noticed is perhaps a lack of practice. Okay, so let's do this one real quick. Number 16, we've got a slope of 3, and we're going to pass through the point -2 and 3. So I'm going to put it in y equal mx plus b format. Okay, y equal mx plus b. Okay, I know that my m value equals -3, but I don't know b yet. So what I can do is I can plug these points in to solve for b. So I can say that this is going to be x and this is y, and then the only thing left that I won't know is b. So watch this. It's 3 equals -3 times 2, times -2 plus b. Well, 3 equals -6, or -3 times -2 is a +6 plus b. And so I can subtract 6 from both sides. 3 minus 6 equals -3 equals b. So now I know my b value. I have an m value and a b value, and I can rewrite my generic equation for this line as y equals a -3x minus 3. It's a really cool trick, okay? For something like 18, you'll have to find the slope first, and then you can use one of these points in the way I just used it to find your b value. Something like 15 should be very easy. So that is a great place to start. The other thing that's worth mentioning is that there are a couple good graphing calculators that you're welcome to utilize. One of them is MetaCalc. I really like MetaCalculator, the graphing calculator on here. You can use that. I will be doing another video soon on actually using graphing calculators, but if you're kind of familiar with them already, this is a good place to start. The other one that I like is, and have a lot of students use, is Desmos calculator. Again, so you can create an account, you can save pictures and stuff on here. It's actually pretty cool. So that was just kind of a foreshadowing of another video to come, but I hope you get a lot out of this, and I hope you practice, and thank you very much for your time.